If this report is to be trusted, it looks like Daisy Ridley is in talks for a return to Star Wars. Let's talk about it.
Have you seen Star Wars?
So today we're talking about this report from a website called Giant Freaking Robot, and they have an exclusive, and their exclusive, of course, is that Daisy Ridley is in talks for a return to Star Wars. And before we get into that, I do want to go through what they say is like a trusted and proven source, and that is stuff that they had confirmation of Doctor Strange being in the WandaVision series and something else about Smallville. They're saying they have a trusted track record. I have not kept up with these people. I find this to be kind of credible because not only what they've said, but because of what we've heard from other people in the past. Someone like Jordan Mason, who is of course a very credible Star Wars scooper, did kind of add some corroboration to this by saying, yeah, he's heard that there's interest in, Rey's story being continued in Star Wars in the future. So he's not saying that what they're saying here is accurate, but he's saying he's heard stuff similar. And I personally don't believe in coincidences like that. We've also heard Daisy Ridley in the past specifically say that she would be willing to return if the story was right. And according to the people over there at Giant Freaking Robot, they say, thanks to some information from our most trusted and proven source, we have learned that Daisy Ridley is currently in talks with the powers that be at Disney and Lucasfilm to return as Rey in some upcoming Star Wars project. We were not able to discern what that project would be. Is it something brand new or a project we already know about? But that she is definitely speaking to the bigwigs about coming back as Rey in the future, and that's pretty much the scoop. Now, of course, I think when we look at the immediate future, something like Rogue Squadron, which of course is the next Star Wars movie in 2023, we're not going to see Daisy Ridley in that, even if it takes place after the Rise of Skywalker. The fact that they're in talks for her to return is a sign that she will not be coming back for Rogue Squadron, just because that movie is already so far along in the script writing process that if they wanted her to return, that would have to be like a guaranteed deal before they even commit to the script that they have right now. So that's likely not going to be the project. It could be the 2025 Star Wars movie, it could be the 2027 Star Wars movie, it could be a Star Wars series that we haven't seen yet. A lot of people, like my friends, it's kind of funny having friends who are big sequel fans, considering that I'm not really a big sequel fan, nor am I a fan of Rey, but my friends like Palpa Memes and Goldman, this is kind of their alley. Like, they've really wanted to continue Rey's story for some time, and I think some people in the fandom want that. People who like the sequels, people who like the character of Rey, they do want to see what happens with her after the Rise of Skywalker, because it's kind of exactly where we left off with the original trilogy, where we have this Jedi who is pretty much the only Jedi at this point, and we're looking at them to kind of continue the lineage of Jedi, or just the light side, the Force. We saw in the Lego Holiday Special that she was teaching Finn a little bit about being a Jedi after the Rise of Skywalker, so maybe that's a route that they could go, just her teaching kids in general. I don't know. I really don't know how her character is going to be dealt with in these future stories, because with her situation, it's like, well, what do you really want to do? I mean, her big arc as a character from The Force Awakens, it was set up as, well, who is she related to? Who are her parents? And now that we know that, it's kind of like, okay, well, now what? And I think that's the question that Lucasfilm and Disney is having of, now what? Now what do we do with the character of Rey? Do we explore what happens after the Rise of Skywalker, her rebuilding the Jedi Order? Do we explore what happens between The Last Jedi and the Rise of Skywalker and just do something unique there? Is this going to be a one-off story? Is this going to be a series? How are we going to deal with this? And I think that really is an important question, because with Star Wars, it's kind of unique to think of it in a chronological aspect, because whenever we talk about stories, every story has an ending. And with Star Wars, we don't really know where that is going to be. We don't have a exact point on the map right now, or on the timeline of Star Wars, of this is exactly when the story of the entire Star Wars universe started, and then we have this exact point where the entire Star Wars universe story ends. I'm not saying we need to find that with Rey, but I feel like that question has to come into play now, because, and as a critic of the sequel trilogy, as someone who wasn't a fan of it, this is where my problem with this continuation of the story comes into play, is that we're in the exact same position that Luke Skywalker was after Return of the Jedi that we are with Rey after the Rise of Skywalker. The Jedi are kind of still around, even though it's just one person, and the Sith have been eradicated, and the galaxy is kind of on the mend because this recent authoritarian government has just been destroyed after, ruining the galaxy for however many years. I don't like that, because it feels a little unoriginal, so it's kind of like, what all can you really do? We had the celebration again. the Empire, the First Order, the Final Order, they were defeated again. The Jedi won, Again, the Sith were destroyed. Again, it's just kind of like, where do we take the story from here when we had a satisfying ending in terms of narrative? Not for all of us as an audience, but I'm just saying in terms of the narrative, the story's over. The evil has been wiped away from the galaxy. When we bring Rey back, what is the evil that she has to fight now? Is she simply going to be the guide for the next generation? That's completely fine, but where does the dark side come into play? What is she doing? Is she just going to continue to hunt down the Final Order? Is she going to find Sith artifacts and destroy them? I'm okay with them coming to me with a certain story and making it unique towards the character of Rey. I'm cool with that, but I'm just saying it has to be a story of substance. When you're bringing back a main character like this, like imagine if they were like, hey, we're bringing back Luke in a future project like we did with The Mandalorian. It was a big deal, but same with Anakin Skywalker. When these characters come back, they're supposed to be big deals because they're the main heroes of each of the trilogies. So with Rey, they really got to play their cards carefully, because now you're dealing with two things. Probably three, if we're being really honest. You're dealing with three parts of the Star Wars fandom that have different views on Rey as a character. You have people like me who weren't fans of the sequel trilogy, who don't really like Rey as a character. You have people who are, I think they're called Reylos. It's still a thing where they love Rey and Kylo Ren being a thing and whatnot, and they have their views on Rey Skywalker. And then you have people who aren't Reylos, but they are sequel trilogy fans. So the question is, what do fans want from Rey going forward? Do we want to see her story continued? Does everyone feel like her story is over, or is there room for more? Clearly, there are people like Palpamemes and Goldman who want more story from her, and that's completely fine, and it looks like we're going to get that. My question now is, what is that story? What is that story that is worthy of bringing back the lead character of the recent set of films that we just watched, and why couldn't we have told that story already in the sequel trilogy? Maybe it's going to be a story that I think it has to be its own thing. It shouldn't have been in the sequel trilogy. But if it's a big character like this, I feel like it has to be a big story, and it has to be a big project. I do not want a spin-off movie. I do not want her in another movie. I feel like a couple parts in a series or a show is fine. But beyond that, if they do a movie, I'm just going to feel like, why didn't you do this in the sequel trilogy? Why are we retreading this character that has already kind of had a full arc? And as someone who, like I said, I'm not a big fan of her character, I don't feel like there's anything more from her story. Just because I'm not interested. But tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. I don't want to, go on a tangent too much about the sequels and Rey, but tell me your thoughts about the idea of continuing Rey's story. Where do you want that to go? What do you want the story to be about? And how do you make it appeal to the mass audience of Star Wars fans that either were or were not fans of the sequel trilogy and Rey as a character? Tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you all for watching. If you like this video, do me a favor, give it a like, give it a comment, and you can subscribe. And if you subscribe, you become an only fan to your boy, Star Wars Only. And if you're an only fan, that means you stay up to date on the latest news in Star Wars. So make sure you do all that. Thank you all for watching. I will see you all next time, and may the Force be with you always.